Hola. Un momento. Ay. Oliwi. ¿Qué tal, la Yaya? ¿Cómo estás? Un segundo, me está escribiendo ahora mismo una cosa. A ver. ¿Todo bien? Me dice Blue Parrot que tiene un examen mañana y que no va a poder pasar. Así que vamos a mandarle fuerzas. Vamos a levantar los brazos al cielo para mandarle fuerzas y mucha suerte. Para que cuando esté viendo el bot ahora mismo diga, me cago en los putos que me mandaron fuerzas y buena suerte. Venga, mucho ánimo, Blue Parrot. Cuando sea que estés viendo esto. ¡Cámbare! Bueno. Espero que todo el mundo esté bien. I hope everyone is having a good time. Hi. I'm here. And we're here to play. Eventually. Let me just quickly make sure that everything is alright. And don't want to screw up anything. Alright. Okay. I think we're good to go. Now. I do have the game around here somewhere. Hold up, give me like a moment. Find it. Aquí. Get this. Play. We switch over and we get rid of the music. Perfect. ¿Qué me falta? My phone. Hold up. I need to pull up chat on my phone so I can make sure that I can read all of you guys. And gals and non-binary pals. Live. Agüita. Ay, ¿qué tal el día? ¿Qué tal la semana, la Yaya? ¿Cómo está todo? Okay, so last time we finished the first day of the trial, and now we have reconvened at the Sholm suit to discuss with Iris what our next move will be. Because Kazuma was like very intent on like pushing the let's investigate the professor's case. I am thinking that maybe that this will be open at some point and it will be like a key detail for the professor case. There will be like a specific clue inside. My eye is always drawn to this big metal chest that Mr. Sholmes and Iris use as a coffee table.
Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers?
It is. So you would think that they would treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it.
Oh no!
I suppose something must have been frustrating him.
What a shame to mistreat the furniture though. Was it damaged?
The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes was doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes. Aww.
Oh dear, that is a painful tale.
There's going to be like a clue in there somewhere. Alright, this morning's trial.
Oh, how did it go in court this morning?
Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened. But one thing is increasingly clear. Lord Van Six definitely didn't do it.
Oh, goody! Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really?
And there was another development too. Kazuma.
Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed.
I know. I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's Forgotten Past. Ryunosuke, there really was no need to compare him to a bloodhound after his father did, you know what. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. What is going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. The Reaper's innocence. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Van Six has to be innocent, you see.
What? The day before? Well, that That should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. That is curious.
There are still unanswered questions about Lord Van Six, though, aren't there?
Do you mean?
I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place?
Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he?
And it turns out that little room was actually the inspector's secret office.
Oh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot.
But then, why was that notice board in there, covered all in those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all of this.
Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish.
Oh, delightfully devilish, my dear Iris.
We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements of late.
Gregson's movements. I never imagined I might have to be investigating an inspector's movements.
Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation on the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Harley?
Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating.
I do wish it had been the other way around.
Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil, in possession of Gregson's identification.
You know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my. Yes, you're absolutely right, Iris.
But why would Gregson need an alibi?
It would appear that the inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just the harmless lover of fish and chips.
I mean, personally, I'm sure that deep in his heart he is. But perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Joder, unos que dramas.
I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies.
Well, anyway, if Lord Van Six felt the need to investigate Gregson...
Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows.
Mr. Vigil's condition.
Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Harley yesterday? That's right. To ask Mr. Sholmes if he would help her to find her missing husband.
Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to hospital? Do you know which one?
Ah, it's St. Sinners.
I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down. Yeah, because we're always going back to the same hospital. Because, like, obviously the developers are like, we're just going to design one hospital room and use that for any hospital scene. But it starts to get repeating, so like they have to acknowledge it in a joke like that.
But Mr. Bruno, you have found the lady's husband already.
Well, I suppose I have, by accident.
And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No!
So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed.
Oh, sometimes I really don't want to grow up.
There is more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector.
Impersonate Gregson? But why?
I have absolutely no idea.
Kenny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. Including you, Rono.
I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me.
That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you?
Back to St. Sinners then. Okay, so we gotta go visit Kazuma, and 6 and Vigil.
Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? We're going to kill everyone with this gun. Let us investigate, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris, you're more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone has anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will soon set them straight.
That water pistol.
It's stuffed full of beaming hot extra special blade of mine. And I'm quite sure it will be very effective.
I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels a little strange that Mr. Shams is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find out.
Yes.
That was like a multiple voice that I cannot do. Alright team, let's move out. Let's go to band 6 first. It's so hot. 2nd of November, local prison, cell number 1. Hey yo, what's up? We're here for you.
Urban 6 is reading. Look. Doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he?
But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. Leave me alone, please. What do you Nipponese want? That is no way to greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? Perhaps not. I apologize. So, what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Urban 6, speaking earnestly. Oh, the fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow.
This does feel very, very strange. Oh, his music, his theme. I must say, I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese. Your prosecutor friend. Oh, I see. Yes. It's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loathing of the Nipponese, to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose it's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years. Played the part? You once told me that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper, because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? But the henchmen of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts on your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you. Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization.
So it's a whole organization.
It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case. Which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved.
Someone that you can't mean.
It's taken me many years, but I have finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Tobias Gregson.
No.
Gregson? The Reaper? Holy fucking shit. Okay, no. Gregson cannot be the Reaper. Gregson might have been covering for the actual Reaper, which is probably Lord Strongheart. Probably, most likely, most definitely. But he's not the Reaper. So, the reason you were investigating Inspector Gregson is because you intended to expose him as the Reaper? As I said, the Reaper of the Vale is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization.
I don't believe it. Are you saying that, Gracie? That he was behind all those awful criminals meeting there?
Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself.
Oh,
He was the tactician. His job was to covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi. Which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassin there for briefings.
So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then.
Actually, I do have a name.
You what?
well, if you can name the man, then you have the true identity of the Reaper already then.
Or if I can name the woman.
Oh,
She's a young woman by the name of Asha Shin.
¿Cómo te digo? ¿Cómo te lo cuento? How do I tell you, my good dude? She's fucking dead. Wait, what? Shin? Miss Asa Shin. The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. Assassin. He came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Then, just when it seemed that diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction, the mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. And that woman was actually the Reaper of the Bailey?
Mr. Naruto, this perhaps isn't the place to discuss.
No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson. Because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that the man was her father.
Assassin. I should let father know at once.
Yes, I agree. Prosecutor Asogi.
Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Asogi. You say he's a friend of yours.
Actually, he's my boyfriend. He's my partner in love and law. Yeah, my boyfriend. He's the whole reason I got to Kanto Britain. It was all on his merits. I have nothing but respect for him.
Yes, I understand that only the very best of students are selected for such opportunities. And I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father.
Kenshin Asogi, the professor.
It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a canker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves.
Ah, I see.
But that's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Six was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that Nam Japanese have to go and take my brother's life? In spite of having one saved mind.
Oh? He saved your life? How did that happen?
It was 10 years ago, on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital.
So Clint Van Six had already been killed at this point then.
Benson and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden...
Don't make a peep, you're coming with us.
we were surrounded.
Oh, young Van Six is like... Does Young Man 6 don't have like a scar on his face? Also, damn, Genshin Asogi looks more handsome in real life than in like the wax statue. The wax statue was like very much more villainified. Yeah, he was framed. I am 100%, I am 99.8% sure that he was framed.
All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scars. Leente was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. He had been targeted several times before already.
Yeah, it's been 6, alright. We've got him.
I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me. But just when I thought my time had come...
If I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me.
It was Asogi's voice, just a whisper in my ear. After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He had shielded me. 2 days later, they arrested him. On suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor.
How awful for you.
Joder. For Urban 6 has suffered so fucking much.
All at once, I lost the brother I revered, and the foreign friend I held in such high regard.
I'm so sorry, Lord Van 6.
That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I would recount it to anyone.
Well, thank you for confiding in me.
The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are.
I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper, giving assassination orders to Giselle Brett.
Mr. Naruhodo, let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information. Oh, that means I get to meet your dad, Susie! Hooray!
Yes, alright. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Oh, no, present no. Alright team, let's move out. Second of November, Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. Oh, sorry about that.
I thought it yesterday, and I think it again today. This place is so princely.
It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you will think the same tomorrow too.
I think that's better against than whatever they're serving in the tea room here, though. What did you say?
Look what we have here. This is an unexpected pleasure.
Father! This is your daddy, Susie? How lovely!
What a charming young lady. And you are? Really? So you're the author of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, are you?
That's me! Miss Wilson, at your service, sir. Susie's been a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know.
Well, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest.
Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, Father.
Is that so? Well, perhaps that goes some way to explain that bright look in your eyes.
I gotta love Iris. You wouldn't be smiling so early if you knew just how bright she is, believe me.
Now then, young Naruto, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery, after I twisted some arms. And I must say, it was a truly exemplary performance.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you omitted by Kazuma on the end there.
No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me.
Really?
You didn't miss a step against Asogi, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to have matured into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary.
It's very kind of you to say so. And really nice to hear.
What I saw in court today confirmed what I had been hoping for. The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo. I trust you haven't forgotten.
Oh, no, you did mention something, didn't you?
But first, I have something to report, Father.
This fucking favor is never going to come out of his lips.
Of course. So we take tea while we discuss matters further.
I wonder where Jatsuji Goku has got to. Ooh, he's looking at us like,
Don't fucking look for my friend. Not here.
I wonder where he is. Maybe he's talking with Sharms? Nah, I don't think so. Unless they know each other.
Father, do you know about this so-called Reaper of the Valley?
I've heard rumors. Some members of the judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge.
Right, he didn't appear until after that case when the visiting students had already returned home.
Lord Van Six, who was in the dock today. That was Barak, the younger brother of Clint Van Six, I believe.
That's right, and he's known throughout London as the Reaper, just you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else.
I see. So what you're saying is, there's been a professional killer at work here.
Exactly. Someone by the name of Assassin, in fact.
I beg your pardon. Did you say assassin? You mean that jail-bred woman who was responsible for killing my great friend?
Oh no, a friend of yours was killed?
Silencio. Shh. Titon. Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend that Professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. And that's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this, anyway. No, let's just jump right into it. Jatsuji Goku. I haven't seen Jatsuji Goku for a while, have you?
Guilty! I completely forgot his voice. But that guilt is still ringing in my ears. No, now you mention it. I haven't seen him since this morning either. I suppose since the symposium's opening was postponed, he will have gone to explore the great exhibition.
That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Jatsuji Goku having once been in the dock himself.
Ah, yes. It was all tied up with that accursed trial.
The close trial of Kazuma's father.
Ishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand.
Oh my!
He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged.
Oh dear. Although, it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that.
Well, it was all right in the end. He was acquitted, and we returned home to Japan together.
Thank goodness.
Oh, nope, wrong button.
Ah, yes, talking of Shishiro. I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please.
Oh, what a lovely picture.
Are we going to use this photo for evidence at some point? It certainly seems to shout, "We have arrived in Great Britain." The commemorative photograph has been entered into the court record.
None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we?
Let me check the court record real quick. What are you planning, sir? What are you planning to do?
No, that's so true.
The favor. So, you mentioned a favor that you would like to ask me.
Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting. One way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I would like you to accompany me back to Japan.
You want me to do...
What? Father! What's the meaning of this?
Now, Susato, you should understand. You have seen how our court works firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense.
Oh, you mean...
The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer. As soon as possible. Really, quite urgently, in fact.
But I have not even been in London a year yet.
I've read all of Susato's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. And having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruto, are precisely the man our country needs.
So, you would be leaving then, Bruno?
Te estamos viendo los pibes y yo en el proyector del salón. ¡Joder, qué presión! Dios, hola. Espero que gritad ahora mismo, si os lo estáis pasando bien o si me estáis escuchando. I was doing stuff, I am stuff. Chan chan, the plot thickens. Hola, no sé quién no sé cuántos estáis, pero espero que lo estéis pasando bien. Y que hayáis tenido un buen día. Quedando y todo eso. Ay. Lo siento mucho si mis voces son muy malas.
But then, what am I supposed to do, Father?
Kill yourself. You came here to serve as Sogi's judicial assistant.
Oh, yes, she's supposed to be Kazuma's assistant. Carlos is tough too, okay. Hola, Carlos. Hago directos.
Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with his situation, though. You have always chosen your own path, Susato. And I trust your judgment. In this matter also.
Father!
Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand. A hope, if I'm honest. But I won't force you. All I ask is that you consider it. And come to a decision by the time this trial concludes.
Como si no nos faltaba presión encima. Yes, alright. Espero que le estéis explicando la situación del contexto del lore a Carlos, porque debe estar perdidísimo con lo que está pasando ahora mismo. Dios, Minnie Mouse.
You won't leave, will you, Bruno?
No quiero abandonar a la niñita. I love her so much. I thought it hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out that he's still alive, so... Where does that leave me? Crisis existencial, crisis existencial. Okay, Dr. Wilson's dead.
Ah, I've just remembered something. Biscuits! This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits.
That was rather out of the blue.
Yoink. She's doing this deliberately.
I think I will go and see if I can purchase some. I wonder, would you like to come too, Iris? Oh yes! You just tried to leave me behind.
So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she?
Yes, that's right.
And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great detective Soames.
Un segundo, me ha pasado... Me estáis viendo en el proyector. Joder. Un poco de vergüencita, pero estoy muy honrado. Os quiero mucho, chicos. Love you all. Back to chat. Okay.
But the name of the created author isn't Iris, is it? It's Dr. John H. Wilson.
Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see.
Her father? Dr. John H. Wilson was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial University 4 years ago.
But he was murdered last year by Giselle Brett. Why? Why would the Hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Iris knows nothing about that case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father.
Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. But I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner.
So, it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think?
Well, John and Wilson are both common names after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure.
That's what we thought, yes.
We're back with cinnamon biscuits.
Oh, they smell delicious, Iris. Just ignore whatever we were talking about right now.
I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here. Don't you, Susie? Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris.
Ay, mi garganta, me estoy muriendo. Ay, bebed agüita, chicos. Drink water. Plenty.
Well, if you will excuse me now, I need to telegram government ministers and the Japanese police with this information about Asha Shin.
Of course, Father. Thank you.
I look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson.
Oh, good. And please do come to Baker Street sometime, won't you? I would love to entertain you.
I don't want to fucking die. Lower the gun. I would be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruto. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you?
Yes, I will. Going back home? Ryunosuke never speaks about his family. I wonder if he's like an orphan or something like that.
You know, Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he would love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all of this.
Yes, no doubt. Assassin. Of course, it's so obvious.
How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before now?
El puto! The fucker. Ah, Mr. Shons!
Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question.
I didn't notice you at all.
No matter, no matter. Anyway, to more pressing concerns. Mr. Naruto,
Oh, yes?
I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of much urgency.
To Japan, you mean?
Tell me, to whom can I entrust the task? Quickly now, who?
Well... My father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself.
I see. Well, he looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow.
I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Shons.
There's not a moment to lose. Kindly ask your trusty and saving father to see this sent. To see that this is sent.
I will, but what is it?
No questions at this time, if you please, Mr. Sutton. All we can do is pray that for once, my deduction is Ori.
Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct, Mr. Shons? Which isn't exactly... No then!
You may be surprised to learn that I am a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind cities and eavesdrop on other people's conversations.
So that's what joining us for tea meant.
I leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellows.
Shons looks rather serious right now. He's like taking this way too seriously. Like this doesn't seem like a gag. That he just teleported behind us. Ah, wait, Mr. Shons.
He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace.
And left the unpaid bill for his tea behind too. Fucker.
I must catch up with father at the telegraph office at once. And I will run to Osaka straight away.
Oh. And there was me, thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Sean's bill. Let's go. Oh, we just don't know where this place is. Okay, let's... I mean, I was like hoping... PPT Gamer with that Temura raid, welcome in everyone. Oh my god. I hope you all had a great time. I think we were playing Murder by Numbers, so... Did a lot of people get murdered? Oh dear. Shout out. PC Gamer. Please, everyone go follow CPC Gamer. They are a lovely person, a lovely streamer, and they are very fun to hang around. I have not been able to hang around very much lately because of my studies and so, but soon. We finished it! The game got murdered! Yes! Wait, if you murdered the game, does that mean that you are guilty and I have to prove your guiltiness in trial? Do I have to yell objection at you? Hold up, I spilled some water. Oh no. Oh dear. I lost the game. Me cago. I lost the game too. Damn it. Damn it, Damiancito. How could you? Congrats on finishing the game, CPC Gamer. If you have to like run off to have dinner or stuff, totally understandable. Please, thank you once again for reading. And I hope that you all have a wonderful night, or day, or time zone, wherever you are. Who heard you that? Why are you like this? Damiancito is always like that, don't worry about him. Second of November, Saint Sinners Hospital. Ward number 3. Universidad San Jorge. Yeah, university was kind of very tough for all of us.
This is the ward where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently.
To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Oh, the lawyer. Hello again.
Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil?
Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. I'm so sorry to have caused you to... I mean, it was because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you had obviously tried to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago too. You just missed him. Oh, Kazuma beat us to it. He said much the same as you. He was apologetic, very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought this all upon myself. Please, don't think like that. Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years. I have carried such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously became to deceive myself as well.
You mean about your dismissal?
Please do not remember that, I have like PTSD. Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as his stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help. Perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then. I'm sure this is just the search for 10 years of lies and deception, but... It wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me. I swear it. I swear it's true.
Oh, Mr. Vigil.
Me muero. I'm sure you would rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but... If possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I want to. I need to get all of this out of my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. Alright. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. Was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes.
It was when he got to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him.
You would pretend to be the inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf.
Oh no, never! A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here.
So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident.
Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park, on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So, as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around, and was very vocal about my presence.
But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed frosters.
Yes,
So you would always make a point of showing Grex's identification and generally being loud.
that's what the inspector asked me to do, yes.
Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though.
And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hand. But the following day, they kept their word and released me.
Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however.
We had arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day, so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot.
The prison escape.
It was at midnight on the 17th of June 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution.
But the professor's execution never actually took place, did it?
Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what the chilling plan it was.
Berkeley was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned.
I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct?
Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of the condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison.
So the plan of escape was to fake your own death and then come out of the coffin.
The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When the executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut.
No.
I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived.
So, you mean the coffin contained...
Yes. I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution, somehow was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery.
Presumably, there won't have been enough air inside to breathe for long.
So, in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free.
But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder?
I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me.
The convict, Asogi. Obviously, you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Kenshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After the trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it?
It was a time of delicate diplomacy, when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly.
The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he had done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible? I'm guilty of the unforgivable crimes of ending another human's life. Yes. The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something. Something unusual. Something unusual? What? The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi. As I said, it was on the night following his trial after he had been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand. Ah, his last will and testament then, presumably. As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back.
But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh?
Yes, that's true. But there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see. What sort of conditions? Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception. Really? He was allowed his things? That is unusual, certainly. Of course, he had been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. Oops, sorry.
And what was the exception that you mentioned? The personal effects he was allowed to.
That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. Specifically, no pens or paper.
So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him.
Yes, that was the long and the short of it. I have no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back, and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back? Please, please turn the blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You are the only person who's seen. If you just agree to keep quiet. Alright then. But what is on that paper? The last will and testament. His will is the only weapon I have left now. How can a will be a weapon? Well, if it's the truth about what really happened, and it's like I was incriminated and the true culprit is this and that and that, then yeah, it's a big-ass weapon, Ryunosuke. So I decided to pretend I had seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without a trace. What? What do you mean it vanished?
It would seem that isn't the end of the story of this mysterious will.
The will's disappearance. I was the only person who saw Asogi's will, but somehow it disappeared. It was after Asogi's execution.
It was actually an elaborate jailbreak.
Me muero.
It was actually an elaborate jailbreak.
The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see.
The poor Kazuma-sama.
And you are saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects. The will, I mean. That's right. Though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Kaden was livid. He was screaming, "It cannot have disappeared completely."
That doesn't quite make sense though, does it?
Yeah, how did he know about the will? In what way?
Well, we had understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it?
Oh, yes, you're right. I really don't know how he knew, but it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was the Asogi Papers. The Asogi Papers. Man, this conspiracy is just getting deeper and deeper and fucking deeper. I didn't expect it to go this far down the line. Everyone is involved in like some way or another. The Asogi Papers. I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened. Your dismissal, and the way you blocked it on from your memory, and you jumping down the window. Told ya, yep. This rabbit hole is deep. But way too deep. I had forgotten all this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case though. Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We are very grateful. Don't we have... No, we don't have the... We don't have the telegram from Shons. I wonder what that is. I suppose that Susato is holding it. I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Phoebe will be here shortly. So I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, not at all. Thank you again.
But what will become of you now?
Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes? What is it? The Asogi Papers. I would be very grateful if you would make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason? It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I had remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder. Perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. If there is anyone who might know more about that document, a document that Kazuma's father left behind... Iris, ok.
It would be...
Me estoy muriendo. Un segundo. I'm dying. Oh, there we go.
It would be Mr. Vigil's governor. Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Berkeley Prison.
Oh, he's fucking suffering over there. Ah, look, a pair of crutches. Before we came to Britain, I hadn't realized they were used here as well.
I imagine they were imported into Japan from Great Britain in the first place.
Oh, so no one in all of Japan broke a leg before their arrival. Anyway, the sight of these things doesn't bring back good memories for me.
Oh dear, did you injure yourself once and need to use some?
When I was little, I thought they looked fun, so I borrowed a pair to play with. But then I slipped and sprained my ankle.
I see.
They contain powerful magic, those wooden stuffs. The power to heal, and the power to harm.
I think a certain cheeky little boy managed to cause the harm all by himself.
Man, he's just posing. Okay, let's move out. Second of November, Berkeley Prison. Governor's office. It's a good thing I checked the VOD for this guy because I completely forgot his voice last stream. Oh, back again, are ya? Yes, hello. I've heard all about your investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh? Vigil. Yes, luckily. Well, anywho. The laddie doesn't work here no more. So your case is now to do with Berkeley. I wouldn't like you to get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes. Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so...
Yes, we have seen him with the notice, haven't we? He was leaving the job.
Hey, Kimmer. You can very well. So how about a wee handcuff biscuit?
Oh dear, really like little handcuffs. And as hard as irons too.
So, what's brought you down here today? Well, there's something else we would like to ask you about, actually. Is that so? We believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something. Ryunosuke, you are very blunt and direct. You need to handle your negotiations better. Did I know, say? Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Berkeley. Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not footer about with irrelevant details. Expression changed completely. We're clearly onto something here. Ten-year-old legacy. That murderous bot's execution. And the whole miserable escape. They were Berkeley's darkest hour, eh? A shocking embarrassment. Because the convict had they collaborated on the prison stuff, you mean? Hey, for shame. The coroner who confirmed the death of the man after his execution. Corny Sith. And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair.
But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it.
The rascal wouldn't say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs.
No, how could I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet.
Iris. Mi niña.
When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing, he jumped out of your office window, didn't he?
I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you not think he wouldn't have jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You wouldn't have say otherwise, though, would you? Of course, I cannot shun all responsibility myself. Shouldn't have let him deceive me.
Actually, there's barely anybody that kens that what went on at the time now. With Gregson having been murdered and Dr. Sith forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away.
Well, we're not going home empty-handed.
And I wouldn't dream of sending you packing with Naut, Kimmer. Here, take a handcuff or two.
Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. We don't want to become anemic.
Grunch. I suppose, if there's anybody who might still ken about what happened back then, would be that last from the forensic division, Maria Gory.
Maria Gory? Gory.
Hey, Sid's daughter. She didn't have no more, just the one. But the Wyverns followed in her mom's footsteps. Didn't ever see without a scalpel in her hand.
Ah!
Mama, what is this?
Ah! Well, where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? Dr. C's daughter, Maria Gory. We could do with talking to her. Gory. So, she is Dr. C's daughter, but her surname is Gory?
Hey, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her mom working with the berries of the folk who had died in strange circumstances. And decided to do the same with her own life. I can understand it myself.
Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother.
Perhaps. Anywho, he was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe.
Right, and the coroner responsible for this incomplete report.
Someone told me once that the wee lassie always loved her mom's story about cutting up bodies. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby.
Well then, perhaps her mother may have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago.
Hey, I would say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us.
We really need to speak with Miss Gory about herself about this, I think. Well, thank you very much.
I'm not happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you now give up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions.
I'm sorry, I don't like drudging up these painful memories for everyone.
Can you not just stay away now? Leave me alone and do not come back here, eh?
The Asogi papers.
How do you come to ken about that, laddie? There's not many folk even here in the prison who have heard of those papers.
Ah, well, I can't tell him Mr. Vigil told me.
I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir.
We've been led to believe that the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professors, or rather, Kenshin Asogi's.
Hey, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy.
Oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? But then, after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it?
Heavens, no! You're off at half-cock there. I think you didn't quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been.
Oh, not what we heard elsewhere.
Let me just have a wee hulk around here, I'm sure I can find it. Hey, here you are. See?
Last Will and Testament of Genshin Asogi. Written with a calligraphy brush.
Of course, I cannot read a word of those Japanese squiggles. But I mean it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son and back in his homeland.
Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it.
So these are the Asogi papers?
Hey, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi, no doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot.
After all the dramas of that slicer of an execution, ooh, that was a wordful to say. A mouthful to say. We sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan. And that was the end of it.
I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case.
The Asogi papers have been entered into the court record. One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Naruhodo. Hold up. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again. But I regret nothing about my chosen path. I wonder if there's like a code or like a secret in this text. Oh, yes? Those papers are now to do with Gregson's death. I prefer it if you didn't make no mention of them outside of this office. Or rather, I wouldn't just prefer it, consider it an order from the highest levels of government. I understand. I am going to completely ignore that order. Okay, let's move out. Where would we find... Gori might be here? Oh, yeah. 2nd of November. British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice Office. No arguments, Prosecutor Asogi. We will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear? Perfectly.
It's Kazuma-sama.
Defying Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. On your way now, Asogi. My lord. Kazuma. He left without saying a word. Yes, what are you doing here? Oh, well, I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind. I wanted Band 6 trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Asogi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary. Unwelcome inquiries? As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes and 41 seconds. 42, 43.
Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Mr. Naruhodo.
In a miraculously not even 5 minutes? Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious mad mood put me off. I need information. The Reaper. Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord 16 is the Reaper? I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago now in that fateful close trial that Lord 16 made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to all the jurors being under duress. But that's awful. The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days.
Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe.
Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey. And people believed Lord 16 was responsible. He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident. Though he must have had a solid alibi then. Nevertheless, mysterious deaths continued. In total, 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences.
Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial.
And the impact that revelation could have on the British public cannot be understated. Is that why it's a closed trial? Precisely. Closed trial. This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years. So the last one was the professors. The trial of Genshin Asogi. Correct. Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. But Six entreated me to relinquish this prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later, with the son of the man Van Six had condemned, now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way. They do say that what goes around comes around. However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well. Kazuma is? I like my organization to run smoothly, in the exact manner that I prescribe. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others. Ah, so that's what all these gears are about in here. What do you think they were about, Ryunosuke? Showing off? If the young man refuses to mess with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps. What do you mean? Not something with which you need to concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow. Now, I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours.
Oh my, that is a long time.
And I hold you entirely responsible. Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes? I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Prosecutor Asogi. Discussions between the defense and the prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go. You can find him in his office. Oh, thank you.
Let's go to see him at once, Mr. Naruto.
Kazuma is my best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. Oh, that's a big mood. That's like I have all these like a bunch of friends that I know from long ago. And I'm like, sometimes I don't know how to talk because I feel like I don't know, like I will fuck up, or I just don't know how much I have changed myself, and I don't know what expectation they will have of me. So personal relationships are very complex and very tough, is what I'm trying to get at. But I still care for them. And it makes sense that Ryunosuke cares for Kazuma as well a lot in here. 2nd of November, Prosecutor's Office. So, this is the office of Prosecutor Asogi now, is it?
Kazuma-sama is doing so well for himself.
No, Susato, you weren't here before. This is Van Sig's office. Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor, Japanese style, in that dark corner.
It's his habit to sit Seisa style whenever he's working.
Kazuma. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? Sorry? You have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. Well, I always believed that you would fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor.
Seeing you standing in the foreign courtroom, so clearly realizing your dream, Kazuma-sama. I'm truly happy for you.
And I am truly thankful to you, Judicial Assistant Mikotova.
Menudas tetas tienes, hermano.
Ryunosuke, I always thought it would be fun for you tonight to shake up the British legal system a little together. This isn't quite how I envisaged it, but I suppose it's just another twist of fate.
I have learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Susato-san's father was himself a visiting student here once, along with Judge Jigoku. And about what happened with your father.
Then you will have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice. Why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself.
I want to hear it from you, Kazuma.
As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Your disappearance. It's getting on for a year now, since what happened on the SS Buria. We were heading across the oceans from Japan to Great Britain, when a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events. I thought I had lost my best friend forever. My boyfriend, even.
I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck.
Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point?
Yes, I didn't know what had happened or where I was. There was just this voice in my head. You have something you have to do. Something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. Your task awaits you there. It was a calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship, and we were docked in a large port.
It must have been Hong Kong.
Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship.
I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain.
Your journey to Britain?
Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me, the sights, the sounds, the smells. My head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realized now that I had escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course.
Oh, how terrifying for you.
Luckily though, I had two feathers in my cap.
One being your knowledge of English, I suppose.
That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. Eventually, after calling it countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now.
Your formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name. But he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world.
Of course, I had no idea why I had moved heaven and earth to get here at that point.
So, how did you end up becoming Lord Van Sick's apprentice then?
That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play.
Would that have been your knowledge of the law?
Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office.
And then, 9 days ago...
You finally got your memory back. After the trial involving Driver. How good he looks here. Yes, I did. Your father, Kenshin. Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Ryunosuke. I will be chosen as a visiting student and make my way to Great Britain someday. Did you know the entire time about what had happened to your father here? 16 years ago. Aww. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. But what I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikotoba, your father, Susato-san.
Oh my!
Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. Even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I will forever be in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe that what he had told me.
Oh,
Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I'd opened it, assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life. What did it say? It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer accused the Asogi name.
oh no!
As a result of that letter, I found out that what had been hidden from me all those years. A letter from Britain. Presumably the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer. I'm so sorry you had to find out that way. I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. But someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear their resentment was always going to be a problem.
But still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing?
There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I had ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree.
Well, what did my father have to say about the letter?
I couldn't bring myself to show it to him,
What? Why not?
because he had deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him. He had done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Jigoku.
To the other visiting student.
He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. But in that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaking momentarily before recovering his poise. A year later, my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. That's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Kenshin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
The Reaper's trial. What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of lawyering, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Lord Van Six isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was... It's clear that the Inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along.
What? You mean you knew?
The real question is, who's been giving orders to the Inspector? Yes, Barok Van Six is the real Reaper. And I know that 10 years ago, it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to the grave.
No, he was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He is not to blame.
Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just a tool that they use to do it.
Those are some harsh words coming from you, Kazuma.
When a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. But I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life.
Kazuma.
On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper.
Kazuma, what do you make of this?
There's only one place where defense lawyers and prosecutors should discuss evidence.
Dude, this is the last will of your father. What the fuck?
So it seems you're still confused by the situation. That's what I make of it.
I get the feeling my friend's always going to have the edge over me, isn't he? You're not going to make anything of this, huh? No, okay. Pues let's just investigate and see if we find out anything else. Okay, so this is the wine, everything is the same. This is different. This is the... What the?
It's a scale model of the crime scene.
Oh, yes, I realized that. Does the prosecution office make a model of the scene for every single case?
Apparently so. Sometimes it helps to visualize things better and notice things you hadn't spotted before. Actually, the miniature notice board is my work.
Be honest, you enjoyed making that.
Oh, sorry, I just misclicked that. Nope, sorry.
I misclicked. Do you know who the man in the portrait is?
Why would I?
What? But you're Lord Van Six's apprentice.
Yes, apprentice, not friend. And during the time I was suffering from amnesia, I didn't even notice that picture.
Oh, really? I mean, it's not the smallest picture.
I wouldn't have the first idea what the man decorates his office with.
Ah! Dracula. Ah!
You disturbed the bats, did you? Fitting companions of Lord Van Six, wouldn't you say?
Actually, I've seen things flying in Lord Strongheart's office too. Those, I think.
Perhaps you have to like birds to attain rank in the judiciary here. Although bats aren't birds, of course.
How about a sparrow for you?
What is that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing, sorry. Just thinking out loud. No, like a sparrow really fits Kazuma, I feel. Alright. I mean... I don't think we're going to get anything out of him anymore, so I think we should just leave. And I am stumped. Where do we go from now? Maybe Van Six knows something more?
What is that?
Ah, it's just something I was hoping to ask your opinion about, that's all.
It's a serious crime for the defense to attempt to extract information from the prosecution by illegal means.
I think we have more of a defense and client relationship now, don't we? Nope. Okay. Like, oh, we need to go visit, the girl, the Gory, but like, what is she? Well, at least he seems to be on the mend.
You know, his disguise as Mr. Gossip was really quite masterful, wasn't it?
I can't remember anything about it except for the floppy lip.
I imagine not even his wife would have recognized him.
But did he really have to take it so far? Let's go back to Fresno Street room. 2nd of November. Room on Fresno Street. Hey, hold on. This is broken. The photograph of Miss Vigil.
Realizing the identity of this lady was a very great clue to exposing Mr. Gossip's true identity. He obviously lost his wife very dearly, which is why he felt he couldn't tell her the truth.
The transformation was incredible, wasn't it? Just from that big twisted lip.
Yes, he went to extraordinary efforts to play the part of Hugh Boone convincingly.
Although, it didn't really seem like it was much of an effort to me.
Now that you say it, I have to agree.
It's almost as if that was Mr. Vigil's true character.
People really are very hard to fathom at times.
Like the seat is broken. How did that happen? I never imagined that this little figurine would turn out to be what's Widenki.
I suppose he's a policeman because the pocket watch was a kid from Scotland Yard. It seems there was quite much more to Inspector Gregson than we ever realized. He was clearly a brilliant man.
It's the fish and chips that threw us off. I feel as though it ruined his image.
I really don't think we should blame one of Britain's staple cuisines.
But think about it, I'm back. How are things going? Bien, we're investigating. Un poco atascado porque en plan me han dicho que tengo que ir a echar el telegrama y hablar con la señorita del Speak with the Corner, with María Gori. Pero no sé dónde, pero tipo, la localización no me deja ir, es muy raro. Imagine if it was Mr. Solms. How would you feel if instead of that old briar pipe that's always in his hand, Mr. Solms had a bag of chips?
Rather disappointed, if I'm honest.
Exactly. Sí, pero es que no me deja ir a la oficina, esa es la cosa. Exactly. I assume that we're not going to be getting any new info here. At the very least, just yet. Telegrama en el hotel. Buah. Es que ves, no me deja hacer nada en el hotel. Frick, ya. He hablado con Kazuma, pero... Maybe Shorms is back home. Oh, Iris. Hello, Iris. Shorms. Shorms, where are you? I need help. "22nd of November, Naruhodo's legal consultancy." What to do?
And you're right, Mr. Naruhodo. It's rather unusual to find ourselves here in the middle of our investigations.
It has just occurred to me that I may have forgotten something when we left this morning.
Please don't worry. As long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong.
Oh, yes, of course. I must get back to work as soon as possible. Joder, that was very helpful. Hmm. You wouldn't read all of these books even if you were reincarnated 6 times over as a bookworm. That's like an isekai title. Can Lord Strongheart really have read all of this?
Thinking about it, Father's study is full of books that look as though they have never been read to.
Oh, really?
Sellers of books are forever pushing their wares on him, you see. And I think he's just too kind-hearted to refuse them.
There's a phrase for that in Britain. People would say they saw him coming.
It makes me wonder if perhaps the vast number of books on the shelves here are a sign of Lord Strongheart's overwhelming kind-heartedness.
I'm sure you could afford to have a kind heart if you had to give Lord 16 in line, could you? Just sitting behind that desk must make you feel so important, don't you think?
Would you like to have an office like this, Mr. Naranjado? With such a grand desk?
Who, me? No, I don't think so.
Oh,
Well, imagine if you suddenly found yourself needing the toilet. You would have so far to go.
oh, true. Perhaps the important people who work in ostentatious offices like this haven't considered such things.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. Hmm. Governor Kirin, will you have a look at this? Okay. Well, you'd rather have a weak and cup biscuit. Oh, no, thanks. I would rather you just cast your eyes over this. Or maybe you prefer real handcuffs, eh? No, neither for me, please. Lovely offers, though. Or it's like nothing is coming up. Hmm. Nothing. Okay. Alice, have a look at this.
Right? I thought you were supposed to say objection, or delay when you present evidence.
No, that's only in court.
That is not fair. If you won't say it, then I won't look.
Objection!
Hey, that was great. Right, next.
Alright, I get the message. Someone is not in the mood for looking at things. Or it's like, what am I supposed to present here?
Objection!
What am I supposed to do? Mm. There's all sorts on these shelves. Chemistry apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all keep it up so high I can't help feeling that the whole lot is going to topple at any moment.
It looks as though it might topple, and yet it doesn't. The epitome of Mr. Shum's brilliance.
I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves myself. Just the other day, the shelf in my office finally gave way under the strain though.
It looks as though it might topple, and it does. Yes, the epitome of your disarray.
I really don't get it. I am very confused as to what I have to do. Like, we have already spoken to Lens with Kazuma. There is Lord 16's incredibly stylish desk.
It's not my style though.
No, I noticed you have been working at the little table on the floor. Laying down 6 style. I thought it was some kind of punishment set up by Lord Van Six when I first saw it.
I find it the most comfortable way to work.
I can do it. After a couple of minutes of sitting with my legs folded under me, they start to go tingly.
Don't exaggerate, Ryunosuke. We both know you can't even manage a minute.
Oh, snap! Snap! Lord Van Six fine collection of hollow chalices and bottles, all neatly lined up.
Yes, he's extremely particular about all that. He has a strict regimen for anything. For everything, from the storage to the casks to the bottling of their contents.
Gosh, you must be having a really tough time of it being his apprentice.
Actually, no.
Oh?
He's so particular about it all, he refuses to let anybody else touch any of it. So it's been quite easy for me, in fact.
Talk about weird. Mentir, puto 6 a puto Kisa, no aguanto nada. Es que suena horrible. Casks floor to ceiling, just like the last time we were here. Adult barrels, I suppose.
They are arranged accordingly to vintage, flavor, and region. Every week, they're all taken out and put back in order.
What? Every week?
Lord Van Six can't seem to settle on the perfect way of arranging them, you see. Vintage, flavor, and region don't neatly coincide. That's the trouble.
Gosh, being his apprentice must be a real challenge.
Actually, no.
Oh?
He considers the task too important to trust to anybody else. So he doesn't entirely on his own.
So he set barrels of laughs here and in court then. Kazuma, this is your armband.
Actually, I think it's yours now.
Sorry?
You're the defense lawyer. You have a talent for it. Always known that you would. Now you have chosen to take that path in life. As your friend, I couldn't be happier for you. Or more proud.
Kazuma.
So you keep hold of that. Besides, I'm a prosecutor now. That armband would have no meaning for me.
Well, if you're sure. Thank you, my friend. What do we do from here? This notice caught my eye before, actually.
I suppose it's some sort of slogan for the world. A cheerful welcome message, perhaps.
Let's see. Pay with good cheer, live with good cheer. Well, look at that. You were spot on, Miss Susato. It is full of cheer.
I wonder how many discharged patients pay their medical bills with good cheer, though.
Once I had to have a very painful injection when I fell ill with a cold. I felt awful already. So why did I have to suffer the sting of the injection as well as the bill? I yelled at the doctor.
Oh dear, what terrible treatment.
There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet, look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this.
Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were pickish, you might try to some of the pills.
Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors.
I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you would break the lock.
Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Susato. These must be the patient treatment notes. Let's see. Tendency to jump from windows. Remember to place caution at base of wall outside. Aren't we a story up from the ground here?
Oh dear, poor Mr. Vigil.
I can't help feeling that there's a better solution to the problem than a cushion, though. Finding something that you have lost isn't always a happy experience, it turns out. Pursuing the truth can be a very dark business sometimes, can't it?
Yes, I'm afraid it can. It can.
Ah, patient treatment notes. What do these say, I wonder? Endlessly obliging. I suppose that's referring to the patient in this bed.
I would think so. And until Mr. Vigil is a little more stable, it's probably just as well that he has a kindly person in the neighboring bed.
The endlessly part is a little worrying though, isn't it? I mean, what if Mr. Vigil suddenly declared that he would like to take a trip out of the window? Would this endlessly obliging patient simply open it for him and say, "Be my guest"?
Let's check with the doctor later.
There are lots of bottles in that cabinet there, aren't there? Do you think it's safer to keep them there?
If you were a patient here, I feel sure you would take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep.
That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has lock, even if it's only a flimsy looking one.
Oh, I have no doubt you would manage to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well.
There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Miss Susato. It's like, what are we even supposed to do here? Ah, this is really messing me up. I'm thinking... Oh my god, thank you. This came up in the trial, didn't it? It's something a little dubious, I mean. The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. Yes, there were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. Truly, a second autopsy report. That is truly a noble idea. I will record it for my descendants to use in the courtroom. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something. Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence in the scene both point to it. To be honest, it bothered me too. So I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. It's Dr. Gori.
If it won't trouble you, Kazuma-sama, we would very much like to speak with the coroner too.
Of course, the last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery. Okay, why did we have to speak with Kazuma to get access to the coroner when we spoke with the guy on the prison about that? Like, he should have told us, hey, you can go see her at this place here. Like, that would have been a more natural progression of things, I believe. Lowgate Cemetery by Berkeley Prison, you mean? Ah, you know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life.
Kazuma-sama.
Well, thank you. We will pay a visit to the laboratory later today. Ryunosuke, I want to thank you. What for?
For this. You safeguarded the soul of the Asogi clan. Well, it is a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is that I never got the chance to draw it before I returned it to you. Haruma is said to have been forged by a master soulsmith during the Sengoku War in States period. I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen. Well then, you're a chip of the old block, I would say. This blade, Haruma, is the symbol of the Asogi clan's honor and might. Apparently one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for his short name. Really? Haruma? It does sound formidable, that's for sure. "16 years ago, when my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side."
No aguanto nada. ¿Qué pasa? ¿Todo bien? ¿Pasa algo? ¿O algo mal?
Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side again now too. And that is all thanks to you.
It was an honor.
Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much.
Kazuma, you've changed.
No, Ryunosuke. I haven't changed at all. It's you who has changed.
I can completely understand your resentment of Lord and Six and what happened. But the fact is, those events in this case are, well...
Unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure?
What do you mean?
Never mind. That man is the Reaper. And it's for that reason that the Inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow. By whatever means necessary.
I can't let you do that, Kazuma.
I know you will do what you have to do as a lawyer. But I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoners in the court.
I would expect nothing less.
Until tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey.
¡Oh! Por fin. Oh! I like her. 2nd of November, Forensics Laboratory. This place really is creepy, isn't it?
Well, being a death room, it's probably full of the spirits of the dissected. But actually, they see rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Well, being a death room, the coroner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of the dead.
Iris? Do you think we could change the subject?
What? What was that?
Turn.
Ah, Dr. Gori?
What?
That noise before.
I was sharpening my tools. I would be dead meat if I didn't keep a perfectly keen edge on them.
Right.
When following the collagen...
No, sorry, no, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Collagen?
When following the collagen fibers in the dermis, an expertly sharpened scalpel. Cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh, yes, please. I would love to see. Then I think you will do nicely.
Huh? No, I wouldn't do nicely at all. I mean, maybe some other time.
Huh.
Was that it, Todd? Well, we came here to ask questions, so... Time of death. We have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember.
You're not dead yet.
What?
So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. She's so strict about things like that.
Well, good. Dr. Sith has some scruples, at least.
Oh dear. It looks like she's not interested in talking to us for the time being anyway.
Volví, ahora te veo desde el móvil, Jiju. Bienvenida a vuelta, Damiancito. For the time being? You mean until we die? I hope that's a way off. Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon.
Well,
Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Dr. Gori, we actually came here to ask you about this.
he was very good.
Good? Sorry?
His skin didn't stung my blade once, and a very little mess. His joints dislocated easily, and his muscle tissue was a pleasure to work with.
We can skip those details. But there is one thing about the report that's caught my attention. You don't seem to have recorded a time of death.
That's not my fault.
Oh, that made me jump.
Then please, tell us what happened.
Time of death. Again. So, why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death then? It's really the most crucial detail.
I was told not to write it.
What? By whom?
Miles Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here.
Lord Strongheart came.
He said that from the witness statements about the gunshot and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 PM on the 1st of November, when the gunshot was heard. But that's not the time of death you wrote in the report. You didn't write anything. Was there some reason that you didn't include it?
Dr. Gori, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later you're going to go to the same way as your mother.
Give it here then.
What is she scribbling so furiously?
There.
You've written...
What? What's written? Tell us.
Indeterminate. The details of the autopsy report have been updated in the court record. Indeterminate. What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate?
When this specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. The time of death could easily have coincided with the gunshot, with when the gunshot was heard. But there was one small discrepancy.
What discrepancy?
There was some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. And that fish had started to rot.
What?
If the victim liked fried fish, he presumably liked to eat it before it went off.
Well, yes, what are you really trying to say?
It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death.
Manipulate the... Is that even possible to do?
Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of putrefaction. And if the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time,
Then only the fish would have started to rot. Yeah, if you put up something in cold ice, it will probably not rot for a long time.
with today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not.
But today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems.
But surely, chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator. And I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory? Or some other special places. I don't recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street though. I wonder if the inspector's body had been killed somehow. What might the actual time of death have been? I couldn't say for sure. But at the most, it might have been a day earlier.
No!
In other words, it would corroborate your previous deduction, Mr. Naruhodo. That Inspector Grayson was killed a day before his body was discovered, at a different location.
Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility?
He simply said that there were no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity.
Oh yes, one other thing. It's something the governor of Berkeley Prison told us. He said that your mother, Dr. Sith, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution.
The professor?
Apparently, you always enjoy listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we were wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago.
That's not all Mama did.
Sorry?
My Mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Van Six as well.
What? Really? The brother of Lord Van Six? The professor's final victim?
The idea of carrying out an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted, and it was miraculously authorized. That detective being Inspector Gregson, of course.
Quite an accomplishment for one man.
The autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. And Mama was there for that historic event.
What does this all mean?
You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this very room. Professor and Clint Van Six. They both spent their final moments before their burial on that dissection table there. That this lab, Mama's lab, was instrumental in some of the country's most important events.
She really is proud of her mother. I wonder if you would tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gori. Oh, she's going to fucking kill us. Confirmation of death.
The professor's execution was Mama's big first case. He had to be in attendance at Barclay's prison execution chamber and sign the certificate to confirm the victim's death. The convict's death. Mama is the best corner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her.
But the execution didn't actually take place.
No, and worse still, Mama actually helped me with the jailbreak. What do you want to know? Oh dear, you found out recently, you mean? I believed in her, in Mama, but now I wonder if I'm starting down the same path as her.
You mean because you omitted the time of death on the autopsy report? But that's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it.
Just like Mama. I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too.
Yes, that is my feeling as well.
There is no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been on it. Must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little handcuffs, according to what he told us. He was tracked by the chief warder. He says he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I would say the same thing.
Just who was behind that jailbreak all those years ago? Clint's autopsy. You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Van Six.
It was a good time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual. It's still not a practice that's observed in our country even now. It turned out that he was the professor's final victim. And when the autopsy was performed, Mama was present, although only as the secondary assistant. personally in the procedure. The procedure was called Dr. John H. Wilson. That's right, my daddy! And there was one other person present. The primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East.
Wait, a visiting student?
It must have been my father, Eugene Mikotoba.
I had no idea Professor Mikotoba had been involved in something so important.
But the outcome of that historic event autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor.
So that's how they came to identify Genshin Asogi as the infamous mass murderer. Do you happen to know anything about that piece of evidence? Can you tell us any more? Sorry, Tad.
Would you like to see the records for yourself?
Well, would that be alright?
What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're filed under B at the back of those cupboards, with the other records from the last sec.
Thank you. Let's see. 6 and 6. That's strange.
What's missing, Naruto?
They aren't here. There is nothing under Band 6.
There must be!
But perhaps somebody took them away?
No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. But you're right, they're gone!
Well, when was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember?
It was... Oh, yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A consulting detective came one day, saying that he would like to see the records.
No. You don't mean...
Sherlock Sholmes was his name.
Deep down, I knew that was coming.
Do you think that he stole the records? Oh, no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right, can it?
Iris? Oh dear.
Runo. I hope you don't mind, but...
What is it, Iris?
I just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to have to leave you now. Oh, this is very sad, Iris. Well, we will come with you then. No, there's no need. You and Runo can take your time here. Bye for now then. Good luck. Wait a minute, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you?
Have you, Iris?
Yes, 2 years ago. When that detective came. You were with him, weren't you? You were a living specimen then too.
That's the way it usually works, yes.
Was I? I really don't remember. Anyway, sorry, but I must ask.
Wait, Iris.
I will grab a boat for you when you get home.
What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either.
It's been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. But next time you come, I would prefer if you were ready for this section.
I can't make any promises, sorry. Okay, I have to say, even if she doesn't have much presence in the whole, narrative, I really like her design, her mannerisms. I don't know, it's like, she has a very cool design. Very goth, but also chemical, medical student in nature. I really like her. She's nice. It's a bit strange that the records of Clean the Band 6 autopsy have disappeared. But I think we have asked all that we came to ask now. Let's have a closer look at this. Then again, let's not. At least, not while she's armed. Okay. Oh, no one is here. Okay. Nobody's here. Nobody's here. Maybe we need to speak with Shorms? Maybe he's at home? Shorms? Shorms, where are you? Kazuma is not here, or maybe he's sitting. And here? No. Maybe Gina is here now? 2nd of November. Room on Fresno Street. The police are still busily investigating in here then.
But Gina is nowhere to be seen. Where is she?
Yes, it has been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Perhaps she's out investigating on her own, practicing what her boss taught her.
Well, I expect she will be back before too long. Shall we wait?
Actually, there is something different about this room since the last time we were here, isn't there?
We could always use the time to investigate some more thoroughly.
Okay, hopefully this is like the last part of that we need to investigate. This little trunk wasn't here before, was it?
Oh, it appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder to whom it belongs. There's some initials on the outside, look. E.G.
Let's ask one of the policemen if they know how it came to be here.
Oi! What do you think you're doing? That's my trunk, what that is? Hands off! Gina!
Where were you hiding?
I don't know, you left something unattended for a few seconds, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry got his 3D eyes on it.
Just a wild guess, Gina, but...
What? Spit it out, Odo.
Is it fair to say that you have only owned that trunk since this morning's trial?
What? What are you trying to say? Come on, this trunk goes with me everywhere. Always has. Where have you been the last year?
Try not to incur your wrath, mainly. Your boss.
I also hear him talking at the yard now. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all the bludgers.
Ah, you mean the whole Reaper thing?
Yeah. Apparently the boss was investigating stuff that no one else at the yard knew nothing about. Stuff to do with all the criminals who got us scot-free.
Yes, the ones prosecuted by Lord and Six who used bribery and corruption to evade conviction.
Well then obviously, it was the blooming Reaper giving the orders, weren't it?
But why would people be suspecting Inspector Grayson of being involved in the killings?
There was a notebook hidden in his office.
Oh no, this doesn't sound good.
It had details about all the crimes that have been pegged as a Reaper's work.
What? No.
No. Did you see it, Gina? Did you see that notebook? But they wouldn't. Let me. Because I'm just an apprentice, apparently. But it was me who found it. And he was my boss. That's right. I was pretty miffed about it, so... I sneaked a peek at what it said anyway. Oh.
That's Orgina. The secret notebook. So, you managed to see what was written in Gregson's secret notebook anyway, did you?
Was it? It's my red to read what he wrote. And what have you written, Gina? Dates, times, places, names, an whole long list of them. All letters about the blood you're supposed to have been done in by the Reaper. But there could have been an explanation for that. Perhaps it was a record of the Inspector's investigations into the Reaper's activities. Exactly, that's what I said. That's the first thing you would think, alright? As it happens, it was full of names I recognize anyway.
Well, the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known leaders of London's criminal underworld.
Well, yeah, but there was one name right at the end that was a bit odd.
At the end of the list, you mean?
I'm pretty sure the date against it was 31st of October. Oh, the day before the Inspector was found dead.
So, what was the odd name?
It wasn't like a name I've ever seen before. It was something like, it's not good. I can't remember it. I don't think it was an English name, put it that way. Oh dear, what a pity. Or something else too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Shin, it was. Don't suppose it means anything, but...
Did you say Shin?
What? What does mean something?
Lord Van Six knew the name too. He mentioned her as well. The woman who actually did the deeds. And now we find out her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. Your investigations. We haven't seen you for a little while, have we, Gina?
Oh, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating that. And that's a yard of trying to trace the boss's movements to the day before it happened.
The day before... That would be the undercover investigation into the Red-Headed League then.
Only the boss didn't go, did he? You done some cove what was pretending to be him, didn't you, though?
Yes, it was Mr. Vigil who actually went to the park on Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson.
Well, anyway, you ain't the only one turning up stuff up. I've got my own ways of getting results. Though, when me and my partner get together, there's nothing we can track down. Oh, little Toby, so he's such a faithful friend.
So, have you tracked anything down then?
What do you think, eh? Of course we have. And tell you the police business, ain't it?
Ugh.
Anyway, the point is, if you don't ever need any help, you know who to turn to, right? Me and the Hellhound here.
Right. Because he looks oh so hellish honest. The Hellhound. Gina, about your Hellhound there.
Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? He's the pride of the force, he is. In Japanese, police dog means something quite different, and not altogether nice to those involved in crime. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment, it seems. Or a canine, at least.
It should be, after all, in the great exhibition case the other day. It was Toby here who managed to locate Drover's workshop.
Maybe it's time for another demonstration of what these two superdog can do, eh?
Do you have something that the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of, I wonder? I'm thinking the red hair piece. So like, maybe we can track down where Gregson was being kept at?
Take that!
Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. He might be a little too keen, don't you think?
Oh!
It's like... Gina's like, oh my fucking god! Gina is dead! The Chief Inspector made short work of Gina there. Ah, look what he's gone to.
Oh my, that trunk clearly still has a very strong scent. of Inspector Gregson.
In other words, it must have belonged to him.
Alright, it's a fair cop, I suppose.
And you nearly got away with it too.
You always talk so proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose and what he can achieve. Did it not cross your mind that he might identify something that was right next to us?
Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, wasn't it? That's enough now then, Gina. I think it's time you told us the truth about that trunk. The metal trunk.
It went like that. It just went.
What are you talking about?
I know what's going through the head of yours, but that ain't what happened.
Alright then. What did happen?
Well, like I said before, we were trying to trace the boss's movements. So I let Tommy here have a whiff of the boss's overcoat. And as soon as he done that, he went off like a shot. Straight to that sandwich.
To a sandwich? Not to a bag of chips?
Mr. Delgado, I believe Kina means the witness.
Oh, I forgot about that sandwich.
Yeah, he had hidden between them wooden boards of his. He was strong.
You mean when they heard the sound like a gunshot and all piled up in here?
Exactly, he knocked it from the scene. Goodness. Me and the chief inspector gave that sandwich a good grilling, and you know what he said?
I thought he might fetch a good price and the chap wouldn't have been needing it anymore, so... But that's what I did. Nothing more, nothing less.
But you had him enough to check a bit, eh? Stealing the dead boss's stuff to vlog.
So Miss Venus wasn't the only one to meddle with the scene of the crime then?
How could they? So anyway, that's how it happened. And it's a pretty decent track, so I figured I might as well make use of it. Is there something more wrong with that, eh? Well...
Maybe you and Mr. Sandwich should try to find the answer to that question together. Can we open the trunk?
I think perhaps that trunk should be turned over to the police, and you... What are you on about? I am the police!
That's a good one. Gina, if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe examine it?
Yeah, alright then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. We shall make a detailed record of our examination of the evidence.
Alright. Hold on a minute, dog. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind.
Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force.
I wonder how it happened. Oh dear. Look at this dark stain here. Do you think...
Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood.
Ugh, I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means...
That this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes.
You think Gina's been carrying this around with her? If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Alright, can we open it? Let's have a look inside. You see that? There is something stuck on the inside of the trunk there. It's glinting.
It looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it.
Well, don't cut yourself. You would better leave it, I think. Look, there is something inside.
Oh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing him to travel overseas.
Was Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then?
Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh!
What is it?
It was for travel on the 31st of October. Just one day before the incident.
What? Really? Huh. Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered? Nothing else? Name, Tobias Gregson. Passport number ACD0522. Date of departure within 1 week from the 31st of October. Destination Port of Dunkirk, France. Purpose of travel, police business. Notes, permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressively towards me all of a sudden?
Mr. Naruhodo, be careful! It must be the trunk.
Ah!
Toby! What are you doing? You're gonna lick his face off! Mr. Naruhodo! Mr. Naruhodo! In a quick heli carriage!
He fucking died. The end. 2nd of November, 4:57 PM. Naruhodo's legal consultancy.
Oh, Mr. Naruhodo, are you alright?
Miss Susato.
Ah, conscious again at last. A bliss relief, my dear fellow. After all, to drop dead after a moderate licking by a small terrier. Most unseemly.
What is it? What is our recent stimuli is irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes? I'm so glad there's no lasting damage. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, thank you. Did you bring me back here? Ah, what is this on my head? A bandage?
Sadly, we had no ice. So that's a compress of sugar water.
Sugar water?
Don't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. It's a first aid treatment that my father taught me.
Oh, thank you.
So let us take tea when you're feeling up to it. But of course, no sugar in the patient's cup.
Ugh, the bump on my head is throbbing sweetly enough, don't worry.
Hehe. Whenever you feel ready then.
Puto. Look at him. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes.
My dear fellow, think nothing of it. I must say, I was quite startled when I heard that you had been attacked by a dog. For a moment, I feared that infamous murderer of so many had come back from the dead.
You mean the professor?
Fortunately, I see your brave throat is unscathed. That stiff, turned-up collar of yours obviously afforded someone welcome protection.
Was I that close to death? All I really remember is the dog licking my face over and over and over again.
Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in the future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks should do the trick. I should think that would balance the sweetness of your bandage rather splendidly.
Alright, let's move down. Second of November, Jumpsuit.
Her mit dem Schwarzbiergebot, brodend wie ein
What?
Feuerberg, den Schlund es mir verbrannt, ach Hopfen deine Wut.
What the fuck?
Mit dem Knacker
What on earth is going on in here? Am I having a bad dream?
Ah, no, it's an old German folk song. Rather a fine rendition, I think.
That's the least of my concerns.
Iris?
Iris? What's the matter? Oh, she just learned of her father's death then.
Who is that sprawling, that relaxed gentleman over there?
Susato, that's your father. Iris? Is she even listening?
Excuse me, sir. I do apologize for troubling you whilst you're singing just so merrily, but would you be kind enough to explain the situation?
Well, that worked.
A crooning gentleman and a mute young girl. A rather tantalizing juxtaposition. And one that appears to have incited the gods of deduction with me to find their voices too.
Ah, Mr. Jones, do you mean...
The strings of reasoning within me are playing now as a delightful duet. One melody sings of a reunion full of nostalgia, whilst the other is a moral theme about the great secret you are trying so desperately to conceal. Iris.
She's turned as white as a sheet.
So as usual, you have instantly seen to the very heart of the matter.
And by the time my own brief performance is over, I feel sure this gentleman's song will reach its finale. So then, to Music Land, where all is sweetness and delicacy and harmony. Pray do enjoy Sherlock Holmes' latest logic and reasoning spectacular.
The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic number 1. Man's identity.
Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of the English language, as evidenced by the Germanic songs he sings and his apparent inability to understand what he has to desist. So why is the man here at all, in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Indeed, we need only follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of this mystery. The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the herbal tea. You obviously offered our German guest a cup of your latest herbal blend. The tea's delectable flavor has made the man's spirit soar, and resulted in this joyful ditty tumbling incessantly from his lips. I eagerly await sampling the flavor myself, that I may join this fellow in his state of elation. Now to the next question. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of the city? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin emerged, engaging my services in solving a particularly delicate case. It required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance that might have proved problematic. In order to conceal his novel identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottfried Sigismund von Ornstein, the King of Germany. If my memory serves, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to the King of Germany. It would appear that His Majesty remembered the fine service I afforded him, and had decided to show his face again, mask and all, in order to express his gratitude. A well-mannered monarch indeed, wouldn't you agree, my dear fellow?
Ah, damn it, he's too fast.
So the identity of this masked visitor is in fact my former client, the King of Germany. Indeed, his son is currently in London as well, enjoying the wonders of the great exhibition.
Es tontísimo, me encanta. The King of Germany. He's so dumb. Topic number 2. The girl's silence.
Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. But your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack. A 5-pound note, I believe. I must say, as your compatriot, deeply saddened. It would appear that you've allowed yourself to be bribed into silence by His Royal Highness, earning yourselves and spending money in exchange for keeping quiet about the King's secret. And now the final piece of the puzzle. What is the secret you strive to hide with your silence, Iris? Ah, yes, we need only follow that brief, involuntarily twitch of your eyes to find the answer. You're attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. My favorite coffee cup, in fact. Or should I say, the handle of my favorite coffee cup. It appears that his high-spirited highness broke it in the midst of his hijinks. Which leads us to the sad truth. My favorite coffee cup has been broken by the King of Germany, and Iris, you tried to conceal it from me. I shall have a bill sent via governmental channels to the German royal family for its replacement. Conclusion. To hide the coffee cup. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this painful puzzle. Es imbécil. Es tontísimo. Me cae bien. With your silence as well, the fellow's jovial warbling rather rings in the ears, does it not?
Mr. Jones, I must say something that rather troubled me.
Pray, Mrs. Adele.
His Royal Highness doesn't appear to have moved the muscle since we arrived.
Oh. And you haven't said a word either, Iris. If Mr. Shams has it alright, you might as well own up to it now.
Your reasoning isn't entirely without substance, I must admit.
And one other thing, Mr. Shams.
Yet another grievance, Mr. Nargodo. Surely not.
Well, I actually read the story of that case recently. The one you were just describing. And according to that at least, it wasn't the King of Germany. It was the King of Bohemia.
Goodness, was it?
Yes, that's quite true. Master Guts, the prince, testified to that in court. In his words, I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia.
I would ask you to keep that minor error to yourselves. It could easily quite become a scandal.
I believe, Mr. Nargodo. It's our turn now to make some corrections to a number of minor errors that may have slipped in.
Yes? Even Mr. Shams is willing to admit that he might be slightly wide of the mark this time. Although it's clear that Iris is definitely hiding something. We need to find out the truth behind this mysterious scene.
But one truth is incontrovertible. My favorite coffee cup is no more. So, shall we embark again? On a joint presentation of Sherlock Holmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Shams. Topic number 1. The man's identity.
Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of the English language. As evidenced by the Germanic song he sings and his apparent inability to understand when he asks to desist. So why is the man here at all, and in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris. It's clearly known to you. Indeed, we need only follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of this mystery. The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the herbal tea.
So what, it's some mix of herbs that gives you the urge to sing?
Goodness, I should like to try some.
And I would like to hear you singing, but this man... Just how long does he intend to keep up that tune, do you suppose?
As I said, he's been stuck still the entire time. And if you look closely, his lips aren't moving either.
Ah!
So I'm not sure that was actually responsible for the spirited singing. I suspect the answer lies at the end of Iris' case.
Wait, this?
It's a gramophone, still rarely seen in our own country. The sound certainly appears to be coming from the horn.
But machine singing? That can't be right. Science?
Science and technology are changing the world rapidly, Mr. Nargodo. What is right is changing too.
Ugh, it's too much for my brain.
Well, at least we found our answer.
Take that!
The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the gramophone.
Indeed, for no well-bred gentleman would break into an obscure folk song while making a social call. In other words, this gentleman isn't singing at all. In fact, it would appear that the fellow is unconscious.
Hat wie ein Diamant.
Ah, the music seems to have stopped now.
I asked you, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
Why would I have purchased a recording of that gibberish?
How should I know?
Well, never mind. On with the deduction. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly on the city?
This happens a number of years ago. I'm going to skip through this part because it's like quite long. And I really do want to get over with the investigation and go to bed. Yeah, the King of Germany. There can be no question that must belongs to the King of Germany. Although we have already established that he was actually the King of Bohemia.
It seems Mr. Sholmes intends to persist with his Germany theory for some reason.
Come to think of it, the young prince was wearing a mask as well, wasn't he?
Master Guts? The boy whom you had in tears.
Ah, don't remind me. Or anyone else.
Do you suppose all members of the aristocracy of mainland Europe wear masks?
I'm sure they do. Well, probably, anyway. The point is, that mask doesn't belong to any king.
Oh, that's right. As we all know. Because we can identify the true owner of this mask.
It is clearly Kazuma Sogi.
Take that!
Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to Kazuma Sogi.
In other words, my memory is sublimely unreliable.
Only you could try to make that sound positive. Kazuma's mask has been languishing on this metal chest for several days. Though that doesn't explain why the gentleman is wearing it now.
But it is now with a simple matter to determine our guest's true identity. After all, the gentleman is unconscious. We need only excuse ourselves in advance, gently lift the mask and peer beneath it.
I don't believe it.
Father!
I'm afraid, Mr. Sato, that
No! I think not, Mr. Sholmes.
then it would appear our logic and reasoning has once again revealed the truth. This mysterious visitor
It's my unconscious father. Yuji Mikotoba.
Oh, that's cool. We have never seen Susato do this. This is so amazing. Logic and reasoning? Or just looking and saying? Yuji Mikotoba. Topic number 2. The girl's silence.
which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. But your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that knapsack.
So that's a 5-pound note poking out from Iris' knapsack, is it?
Oh dear, I can't be sure. Most money that we encounter is in coin form.
I know. I'm not even sure if we have seen any banknotes here in Britain at all, have we?
But anyway, Father would never have paid money for Iris' silence.
He certainly seems like the silent type himself, though, judging by his present state. There must be some other reason for Iris' silence, I suppose.
Perhaps what Iris is trying so hard not to give away with her eyes is something entirely different. This metal chest, it contains important documents, doesn't it?
Yes, details of all the cases Mr. Sholmes has worked on over the years. Written up by Iris' father, if I'm remembering correctly. Iris insists that the chest is kept locked at all times. She's never once shown me inside.
Well, its contents are invaluable to her, I suppose. And entirely irreplaceable. But look at it now. The catch is unlocked for once.
Ah, so it is. That's hard to ignore.
Very. I've never seen that chest unlocked before. In all the time we have been staying here at Baker Street.
Take that!
Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that metal chest. An excellent observation, for upon closer inspection there is something different about the chest's appearance. It's kept locked at all times, yet now the cat is open. Evidently, this has something to do with your refusal to speak, Iris. But it's a simple enough matter to incite you to speak, I'm sure. I merely need to open this chest. Here we go. What? Mr. Soros? Mr. Soros, hurry! He's dead. ¿Qué cojones es este juego? What the fuck is this game?
Never. Oh, Harley. I told you not to open it.
Ah, so you have found your voice now, Iris. In other words, what just happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is...
This is somewhat different to the usual dance of deduction you perform with Mr. Solms, isn't it?
well, he's left me all alone on the ballroom floor, so I'm going to have to dance this next part solo. And anyway, I need to get to the bottom of this, for my own peace of mind. Now then, Iris isn't usually the silent type, so...
You mean you don't actually know the answers yet? Despite that knowing point of the finger before.
Miss Susato, sometimes a man needs to point his finger first, and think later.
Oh, well, if you say so. I think we would better examine Iris more closely. And try to rescue the situation then.
Ooh. That's a key that she's holding, look. I'm sure that wasn't in her hands before, was it?
No, you're quite right. It has appeared as if by magic.
That's strange. A big old iron key. Where did it materialize from?
Take that!
Yes, the real reason for your silence until now is that key behind your back. And Mr. Solms was thrown into the air before. Just before you called out to try to stop him, you slipped something out of your mouth. That something is the key now you have. The key now in your hands. No doubt the key to the chest.
You're so clever, Bruno.
But now it becomes clear. Thanks to Mr. Solms' graphic demonstration, we can well imagine what happened here. Professor Mikotova also opened that metal chest, only to be punched into the air. And land sprawled on the city.
But wait, that doesn't explain all the facts. What about this stylish scarf? And the cup of tea, and above all... Why would he be wearing Kazuma-sama's mask?
Well, for those curious details, I can think of only one explanation. Clearly, an unbelievable miracle took place in this room. Isn't that right, Iris? Consider how the room was arranged before this whole painful experience took place. When Professor Mikotova opened the chest, completely unaware of what awaited him inside, the mask was flung into the air just as he was, only to land neatly on his face and when it fell back down. And the teacup's journey through the air ended when it caught on the unconscious professor's finger.
You mean to say that the stylish scarf
It's actually just a tablecloth. This is the Great Detective's office after all, the place of miraculous deductions. Would you expect anything less? I love them so much, they are the besties. They are the besties of this game. Ah! Too fast. I want to do it without the text box.
Yes, you're right. It happened exactly as you said. Brilliant, Bruno.
That concludes Ryuna's Casanar's great deduction of this punchy puzzle.
So then, why don't I make a fresh pot of tea for us all?
Objection!
¿Cómo? An admirable performance, Mr. Naruhodo. Did someone just do an objection? Holy shit. But in the final act of the show there, you rather missed everything of importance. Mr. Shams? If you would cast your mind back to my earlier deduction. Iris, clearly you're hiding a great secret. She is? From the look on her face, Mr. Shams must be right. Whatever that great secret is, the cat isn't out of the bag yet. So I put it to you again. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup.
It's really a shame about Mr. Shams' cup.
It must have been smashed when Professor Mikodova opened the chest.
Oh dear, so many things seem to have been broken here.
But now that the deduction has taken a different direction, Iris doesn't seem to be trying to hide the broken cup anymore.
In other words, her great secret is something else.
Let's put our observational skills to work here, one final time then. Oh. Case file.
Take that!
You were attempting to abscond with that case file. Iris, as you know very well, nothing escapes the attention of a great detective.
Oh no!
We visited Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory earlier today, and Dr. Gori informed us that the autopsy report of Clint Van 6 had gone missing. Clint Van 6? Yes, I do seem to recall. That some years ago I asked to see the report in question. You were with me, weren't you, Iris? Oh, the music that's playing now is like a different rendition. It's like an advanced version, I really like that. You mean it was you, Iris? So those papers you have there are...
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, don't cry. No! No! Conclusion, to hide the case file. Deduction complete. Elementary. In truth, I would like to have thought that I could have predicted the booby trap chest. But it caught me completely off guard. I was very nearly the late consulting detective Sherlock Holmes.
I'm sorry, Harley.
So you mean this autopsy report really is...
Yes, I took it from the lab. Even though I knew it was very important. Was there something in it that troubled you, Iris? Not exactly something that troubled me. Something I had been looking for. When I saw the report, when I saw the writing in it, I knew it was Daddy's.
The writing?
Your father's writing. What do you really mean?
Iris? It must be something that's hard for her to talk about.
Forgive me for interrupting, my dear fellows.
Mr. Shrooms, what is it?
I feel as though the poor unconscious gentleman of the city has been somewhat forgotten.
Father!
Perhaps we should find our guest somewhere more peaceful to rest. Mr. Naruto,
Yes?
would you be so kind as to lend him your bed? We must do our very best to make him comfortable, I feel.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll help you carry him up.
So will I.
No, I can manage alone, thank you. You have tea to enjoy. We won't want Iris's Brutus too.
Because there's no better way to make the professor comfortable than dragging him upstairs like a trunk. I wonder. Perhaps that was deliberate. Maybe Mr. Shrooms is making himself scarce to give Iris the chance to talk more freely.
You must use this opportunity to talk with Iris. And find out what's going on.
Okay. I think it's best that we leave it here for today. Because it's quite late. I didn't think that this would take us that long. So we're going to save here. Back where we started. And we'll probably... I think I want to continue tomorrow. But we'll see. I will keep all of you updated. But basically, I think that once we speak with Iris, we will go forward to the next day of the trial. So there we go. That's most of the investigation done. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you CPC Gamer once again for the lovely raid. Everyone please go follow them again if you haven't. Now then, there really isn't anyone who we can raid at the moment. So oh nope. No Sember. No Sember today. That's illegal. Whoosh! You will now have happy day, everyone. I hope everyone had a good time. And I will see you all early tomorrow. See you tomorrow, everyone. Bye.